Xbox Game Pass is really on a roll so far in 2026, and that is really set to continue as Xbox have just dropped the Wave 1 games for April 2026, and there are some huge additions here. From an upcoming Xbox first-party title to some pretty massive AAA games, this drop is utterly insane. So with that, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation, and let's dive into the 23 brand new games coming to Xbox Game Pass this April. First up, it's totally worth mentioning that you have a new Xbox Game Pass game which is available right now. Final Fantasy IV has just arrived onto the service for Premium, Ultimate and PC Game Pass subscribers. I personally haven't played this one, so I can't really give you any feedback, but I do know that it's often credited as a game that's made significant strides in its narrative depth, especially for that time period. This one though sees the Kingdom of Baron begin to attack the surrounding countries, and then Cecil the Dark Knight will join forces with Kain, Rosa and Rydia as they then fight against the Baron. Apparently, the emotional heft of this story is really intensified by the character choices, and it really was ahead for its time. It does sound pretty great and is now available, so I might have to delve into it for myself. DayZ has been available on Xbox Game Pass for consoles for quite a while now, but it's finally going to be available on PC Game Pass for the very first time, and I know many fans will be happy as I've been seeing this request a lot in the comments over the past couple of years. If you haven't stumbled upon this absolute juggernaut of a game, it's basically set in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by zombies, but a real threat here isn't just the undead, it's also the other players as well. It is a hardcore survival game, so you're going to need to scavenge for food, water and supplies, and that's whilst avoiding both the infected and hostile survivors. What really made DayZ truly intense though is the unpredictability of just the human nature. Will the person you meet really help you, or will they take everything you've got, as permadeath is a real thing? It's a game where every decision matters and every encounter could really utterly be your last. It's always had a really solid player base over the years. I do expect it to rise up yet again thanks to the addition of PC Game Pass, and that's just in time for the Badlands expansion, which should also be coming to Game Pass later on this year. On the very same day, we do have a couple of titles auto entering the premium tier, which has been on Ultimate for a little over a year now. The first is Endless Legend 2, and this is a fantasy strategy game where you're going to be leading wildly varied factions as they then build their grand armies and wage planet-spanning wars on an ever-evolving ocean world at the brink of extinction. It is published by the Masters of Strategy, who are Hooded Horse, and so far during its early access phase, it's been widely praised by anyone who's delved into it. According to players, it is mechanically and graphically amazing, and it takes everything that was great about the first game, but then improves on it and adds its own additions. I always understand that these strategy games are going to have a niche audience, and I just love seeing more being added to Xbox Game Pass these days. It is still going to be PC only for the time being, but if you are on PC, then you have another reason to delve into it as part of your premium tier. Then we have FBC Firebreak, and even though I really wasn't the biggest fan of this FPS from Remedy, it's still a decent grab for this month, especially if you're on premium and haven't had a chance to play it yet. This was a sort of weird spin-off for the Remedy team as they shifted to this sort of horde mode shooter that has you completing objectives from within the Control universe. It is pretty weird and it can be fun at times due to the unique abilities, but it just lacks that polish and just more content. As much as I really enjoyed the game and had genuine fun with it, I cannot rightly recommend it unless you're either a big fan of the Control universe or you're really into co-op horde shooters. Even then, it's kind of hard to recommend due to the lacking content, but hey, at least you get to try it for yourself as part of that premium tier. A big new addition to the Xbox Game Pass library for this wave though has to be for Planet Coaster 2. The first game was an absolute hit with its deep customization, but Planet Coaster 2 kind of just expanded on that with even more tools for you building your dream amusement parks. The visuals also had a massive facelift, and the game itself looks glorious, especially on the Xbox Series consoles. This sequel also did introduce some brand new features like water parks, and this also enabled players to manage lifeguard, shade for visitors, and even changing rooms. There's also an event sequencer that lets you customize the different ride effects, such as adding animatronics or even water fountains. It's just a great level of detail here. Honestly, the control and level of detail is really insane, so if you love these sort of games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, then this one's going to be a must play. I don't really know how well the controls do transfer over to console though, but speaking to our resident Tycoon and Sim fan, especially over on the Xbox Nation website, they do certainly say it's decent and an easy recommendation for this Game Pass drop. I did mention it in a previous couple of news videos, but of course we are finally going to get our hands on an indie game that is so highly regarded by many over on Switch and PC. That's right, tiny bookshop lands onto the service for all tiers other than Essential on the 10th of April, and please do not skip this one as it's such a cozy indie game that has already consumed so much of my time when I got it over on my Switch. In this one, you basically play as someone who's left their life behind to then open a traveling bookshop, and it acts as a sort of cozy simulation title as well as a narrative adventure game. At times, you'll need to sort of manage your stock and customize your bookshop to suit your desires, while at other times you'll then be questioned about your book recommendations and you'll need to keep the right books to keep your customers happy. This is another fantastic indie edition for Xbox Game Pass, and I do highly recommend this one. Football Manager 26 is a pretty mixed entry into this franchise, and I do know it was pretty much a broken mess on its launch and almost unplayable for many out there. The good news is that it has seen a ton of patches and updates since then that make it somewhat stable these days, but yeah, the general sentiment is the game is still pretty dire. I had to delve a little bit further into some of the reviews to give you an idea, as it really isn't my sort of game, but the reviews out there have said whilst it does have a great tactical system which is genuinely brilliant, the game is still plagued by a catastrophic UI and UX downgrade, the removal of over 100 features, and just feels pretty incomplete. They have stated that unless you're desperate for the sort of new in and out possession tactics, then definitely stick with FM24. I guess if you're on premium, you're now going to have a chance to try it if you do want to see what people mean by this one, but honestly, I don't really think this is going to be an addition that many of you will really care about. My personal highlight for this month though just has to be for Hades 2, and yes, I'm already deep into working on a review, so if you want to hear my thoughts, definitely stay tuned for that Xbox version. This time around though, you're going to be stepping into the role of the Princess of the Underworld, diving into a much larger and more layered world as you take on the Titan of Time, with help from the gods of Olympus. From everything that I've seen so far, the reception has been incredibly strong here. Most of the feedback out there is seriously positive, with a few mention that the story might not hit as hard as the first game, but pretty much everything else feels like a real step up. The combat is sharper, the abilities feel way more varied, and the enemy design looks even better than we've ever seen before. It's not far away now, and the fact it's hitting Xbox Game Pass day one just makes it an even bigger deal for this April. Replaced has been on a lot of people's radars for practically years now, and after what feels like an endless wait, it's finally almost here with a release date set for the 14th of April. Ever since it was first revealed, it's been one of those games that kind of sticks in your mind, mainly thanks to that incredible pixel art. Every trailer since has only made it look better, with its insanely detailed environments and really smooth cinematic animation. What also stands out is the tone. It's got this sort of darker and grounded feel set within that alternate 1980s, and it then drops you into a dystopian city filled with loads of corruption and also mystery. It seems a much more focused approach, especially on storytelling and also its immersion, rather than just throwing objectives at you. After all the delays, it finally is locked in, and the fact that it's going to be launching still day one on the Game Pass makes it so much better. I'm seriously looking forward to getting my hands on this one, and I should be sharing my full review pretty soon, so do stay tuned to the channel. I believe I mentioned the Thaumaturge quite a few times here on the channel before, especially when it came to my sales videos, and that's because it's a really great character-driven RPG that has such a great story, and the price of it more than justifies a purchase. To give you a very brief rundown though, it is of course an isometric RPG, but it massively blends supernatural elements with deep moral choices. You will assume the role of a Thaumaturge, a rare individual with the ability to summon mysterious entities that then have the power to manipulate emotions, sway decisions, and fight alongside you. My favourite comparison that someone gave to this one is basically Persona 5, but instead of Tokyo, it's instead 1905 Warsaw, and yeah, that does pretty much nail the comparison. This one is made by quite a few ex-Witcher developers, so you already know it's a banger right out the gate. If you've somehow missed this one or had it on a wish list, then you'll be excited when it also lands on the 14th of April. It certainly may not be in the limelight anymore, but if you're a premium subscriber and missed out on the Oblivion remake from last year, then hearing it being available on your premium catalogue on the 16th will be music to your ears. For me, just seeing Cyrodiil brought to life into the modern era is just nothing short of magical, and it really did hit me with a massive tsunami of nostalgia. The rolling fields, the glowing Oblivion gates, and that bustling Imperial city, everything just looked better while still retaining the game's original charm. What really made Oblivion so special though was that sense of freedom, and you can still lose yourself in the guild storylines, stumble into bizarre side quests, or just ignore the plot entirely and just live in this world. It is still pretty janky, but that's kind of the whole point, and if you're a premium subscriber, then this is going to be a great addition to your Xbox catalogue. Another new game which is also landing onto Xbox Game Pass thanks to EA Play this month is NHL 26, and as someone who hasn't really played hockey before, then I might not be the best one to give you any sense of if this entry is any good, but hey, at least you fans should be happy with this inclusion. Apparently, this one added a new feature called Ice Q 2.0 technology, and it essentially makes your favourite superstars superstars think, move and play like they're on ice selves. There are also a ton of improvements, including Be a Pro mode being revamped, extra goalie systems and so much more. Like Madden, I've never really played an NHL game, so I would be keen to hear if those improvements do sound good to you in the comments below, or if you have played it, do let others know if it's any good as well. If you do want to skate onto the ice though and bang in some goals, then this one arrives on the 16th of April. I reported it in one of my latest news videos that Call of Duty Modern Warfare might be coming to Xbox Game Pass, and guess what? I was indeed spot on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare from 2019 is officially heading to Xbox Game Pass, and it will be available for Ultimate, Premium and even PC tiers. This game really has been making a huge resurgence as of late, partially because Black Ops 7 is just really bang average, and many are instead extremely hyped that we should be getting Modern Warfare 4 later on this year. I remember playing this one all the way back at its launch, and not only was it such a fantastic campaign which Infinity Ward nailed, but the multiplayer was also slower and just way more addictive. This was before the time of Warzone, and the game really does hold up today. I definitely recommend it, and it's pretty huge, especially if you've been holding off this one for quite a few years now. Another couple of premium games are also coming to the service on the 21st of April, and the first of which is a great little indie game known as Little Rocket Lab. Don't let the minimal pixel art fool you, because this game has a lot going on beneath that surface. You play as a budding engineer determined to finish a long-standing family ambition by basically building a fully functioning rocket. To do that, you'll be designing factories, creating clever machinery, and even managing production lines, whilst also getting to know the local townsfolk along the way. It strikes a really nice balance between cozy, character-driven feeling of something like Stardew Valley, but then the satisfying automation systems you kind of expect from something like Factorio. Following on, another cutesy little indie game called Soper will also be available on Premium on that day, and I actually had the pleasure of doing a little written review over on the Xbox Nation website for this one, and please definitely don't miss it. This is a touching narrative adventure game where you're taking control of a young boy named Miho. He then basically goes off and explores a world of magical realism inspired by Latin America. You then journey through enchanting landscapes, meet some really quirky characters like frogs, and then gather exotic ingredients for your grandmother's soup. And that's following on in the mysterious footsteps of a legendary traveler from long ago. It's a fairly short game, clocking in at just under the 4-hour mark, but it's a pretty great time and a good game, especially if you have younger kids or just a younger audience as a whole. Time is something that I don't really have much of these days, and I'm probably going to lose even more of my time thanks to Vampire Crawlers. This is a new day one title onto Xbox Game Pass from Ponkel, the same devs behind Vampire Survivors, but instead of that isometric survival roguelike experience, is now a card FPS battler which looks extremely unique and totally addictive. As I've just said, you're going to be tasked with building some pretty busted decks and then set off exploring familiar dungeons from a new perspective and unleashing all sort of world-ending combos. The devs over in Ponkel have said that you can either take your time and be tactical, or play turns as fast as you humanly can, but the outcome is always going to be fun and stupidly addictive. I don't really expect any less from this developer, to be honest. I feel some out there may actually dismiss this game due to the art style, but I still bet this is going to be one of the best received games of 2026. Xbox are dropping their first Xbox first party release of 2026 in the form of Kiln this month, and it finally arrives on the 23rd of April. This is the 5v5 brawler from Double Fine that has you making your own style of pots, and then not only has you capturing points, but also destroying others in some pretty cool looking arenas. I know many are still a bit mixed on this one, but for me, I really love Double Fine games, and I just cannot wait to see how this one plays out on its launch day. There will be a Kiln open beta that will be taking place this week over on Steam, so I do expect some good impressions from it, and it should actually give us a good look at the overall gameplay. I fully expect this to be a wacky and fun time, even though it will garner a smaller audience than others out there, but hey, with it being part of Xbox Game Pass, it will be totally one to check out for this month. I do also have some good news for you if you're a Game Pass Essential member, as you'll be getting a couple of new games in the library this month on the 8th of April. Alongside DayZ entering the service, you're also going to be getting a chance to delve into the world of Warhammer with Vermintide 2, and this one for me was such a great game that you need to play as soon as possible. Both have some really dedicated player bases, but for me, Vermintide 2 will really take the cake. It's easy to drop in and play some games, and it can get extremely addictive as you take on the waves of Skaven and the Chaos Forces. In case you missed it as well, we also had 3 Xbox Game Pass shadow drops over the past few weeks, ever since our last Xbox Game Pass update. And first up, we're starting with Easy Delivery Co. This one puts you into the shoes of a delivery driver who has been hired to make deliveries in a once lively mountain town that is now plagued by inhospitable weather. You'll need to navigate to various destinations in your truck, pick up different packages, drive and deliver, all whilst taking in the surroundings and then making friends with the mysterious residents. It has been insanely well received across the board, especially over on PC, and it does seem like a pretty good hit so far on Xbox consoles. Super Meat Boy 3D then landed on the 31st after getting a release date at the Xbox Partner Preview event, and is another strong outing for the little cube of meat. It is insanely difficult and may have you wanting to destroy your controller, but it really was a welcome change, and the transition to 2D to 3D was utterly excellent. I did put out my review here on the channel, so definitely check it out if you're interested in hearing more before delving into this one. Xbox then decided to drop NBA 2K26 into Game Pass a couple days back now, and I know many basketball fans were pretty hyped to see this drop into the service. Again, I won't lie to you, I have absolutely no clue what these games even consist of, and I don't really know what improvements are here, so I'm probably really not your guy for this game. That said, if you're a basketball fan or just wanted NBA on Game Pass, then it is available to play right now. It is worth noting as well that Albion Online will also be joining Xbox Game Pass when it arrives on the 21st of April, and yes, although this is a free-to-play game, that does mean we're going to get a ton of in-game benefits as part of your Game Pass subscription. If you're unfamiliar with this one, it is a sandbox MMORPG where every player's choice does shape the world around you. You can explore, gather, craft and conquer while forging alliances. It's been insanely popular on PC for quite some time now, and I've even spent over 100 hours into this one myself, as it's extremely addictive and the community there are pretty awesome and also really welcoming. I have looked further into the Game Pass benefits as well as part of your subscription, and you'll be able to unlock stuff like an exclusive Green Knight vanity and mount, 100,000 fame, 3 days of premium status, and even 3,000 victory emote charges. That is some pretty decent content for free as part of your subscription, so definitely give this game a go when it lands this April. Unfortunately though, with it being a brand new month of Xbox Game Pass games, we do have some leaving the service, and the following games are going to be leaving on the 15th of April. These are Ashen, Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, Grand Theft Auto 5, A Little Pony, A Zephyr Heights Mystery, and Terra Invicta. Obviously, GTA 5 is going to be a massive loss to the service, but you can actually grab it right now for a ridiculously low price point thanks to Xbox Spring Sale, which is currently ongoing. With all of these games though, just make sure to play them or wrap them up before they leave forever, or just go ahead and purchase them in the store. What do you think of the first Xbox Game Pass drop for April though? Do let me know your thoughts and what you're excited for as well in the comments below. Do smash that like button if you enjoyed, and then subscribe for more Xbox content on a daily basis. We are so much closer to 100,000 subscribers, and I would just love for you to join our incredible Xbox community. Whilst here though, do check out the video on screen now if you want to check out the huge Xbox news that occurred over the Easter weekend. That includes stuff like backwards compatibility potentially returning, State of Decay 3 gameplay, and so much more.